Thanks for your company. The details now. Cutting down on excess public expenditure to protect the public purse can only be possible if political actors give public servants mandated to do so the necessary support. This is the call of Chief Policy Analyst of the Ghana Institute of Public Policy Options, GIPO, Dr. Charles Rekubrobe. Speaking to Joy News' Emefa Atiamo earlier ahead of the Barredu Memorial Lecture to mark the 10th anniversary of his passing, Dr. Charles Rekubrobe says the only way the country can be where it must be is in supporting the individuals who are working hard to protect the public purse, with special reference to Auditor General Daniel Domilovo, who will be delivering tomorrow's lecture at the Kofi Annan ICT Center.
People do not like to give up power easily. And if people are sitting at the center and they've been so used to many years of doing things in a certain way that keeps the power within them, then they are afraid of change. And what the tomorrow's speaker has done is that he has shown that without changing the laws of Ghana, without seeking new legislation, the existing legislation can be made to work to check the excesses of people who don't do what they should be doing. For example, let me give you my own example. I was delighted when he said he was going to check the quality of roads that are passed as fit for purpose in this country. I was delighted because I am a trained engineer. And for me, one of the most ridiculous and abiding shame I have is that I have fellow engineers who pass roads as fit for purpose just for them to fall apart in 6 months' time. You know, it is unpardonable that any engineer worth their salt should go and certify a road as having met the standard required so that people can be paid and so that they may benefit from whatever. So when the Auditor General says, oh, yeah, he knows that there are methods by which you can check whether the road that has been constructed has met its purpose, and that he has the power to do that. And I'm saying to myself, there's somebody showing innovation. There's somebody saying, oh, as long as I am committed to do the job that I have been asked to do, there are ways and means in which it can be done. Now that's of course ruffling the well-established feathers, and there will be resistance. So the fact that there is some resistance, for me, is not something new or something very surprising. But the important thing is that, you see, I remember that Occupy Ghana went to court and went to him and managed to get full disclosure of some information for which hitherto we had all believed nobody could get that information unless the right to information legislation had been passed. So I really believe that if we really are serious about protecting the public purse, then people like tomorrow's speaker should be given encouragement and given the support that they need. And don't forget, the position he holds is a constitutionally established position, and it's stipulated that in his work he should not be directed. And I admire him for the fact that he's taking his job seriously and wanting to ensure that we do not just occupy the positions and his specs and then enjoy them and just retire and say that we also serve in this position in Ghana.
But to a large extent, whether you and I like it or not, this opposition we are talking about goes a long way to either make him successful or unsuccessful at the task we have given him.
No,
the
success will depend on the support they get from the political class. You know, if the political class who are in governance at the time provide the necessary support for the individual, That's why, you know, in our prior chat, I was telling you that for me, the biggest and the most important thing I heard yesterday was a special prosecutor saying, I am not going to be doing anybody's bidding. I will choose who I prosecute and when I prosecute them. Nobody is going to.
So tomorrow we'll be bringing you more on that Redu Memorial Lecture, even as we commemorate the 10th anniversary of his passing at the Kofi Annan Indian ICT Training Center. Away from that, imagine growing crops on land that do not require the use of fertilizers, but still highly productive because the fertile, virgin land reclaimed from the sea less than 50 years ago. That's the advantage a lot of farmers in the Netherlands have, which they say is helping avoid pollution of the environment. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo went to see the land and reports.
This map shows the land area of Netherlands today compared to more than 700 years ago. About 17% of Netherlands' current land has been reclaimed from the sea or lakes. The government has built long stretches of sea defense walls called dikes across the sea and pumped out the water, creating dry lands there. The farmers say these areas are rich in soil nutrients and they are able to farm without fertilizers.
But everywhere in the world, I know nowhere in the world is so much calcium in the ground as here. Okay. Because I know the clubroot in the world is the biggest problem. But only on the bottom of the sea we have much calcium in the ground.
So this large area you see in the background is an area that previously was part of the seabed. Well, more than 100 years ago, the work began to clear the water from this area, and then the land was allowed to dry, and farmers were then allowed to move in to undertake their plantation activities, and they're excited that they are farming in a place that was previously part of the sea.
Water is no problem, to get water is no problem. We like to farm below sea level.
Flevoland is the most recent Dutch province and was only created in 1986 on land that was mostly reclaimed in the 1950s and 1960s. The soils here are thus highly nutritious because these are the first farmers to grow food here.
So I'm a lucky farmer because in this area it used to be the sea bottom. So if the dikes break through today, there will be 3 meters water here, or maybe 4 or 5. But the good thing is that 1,000 years of fertility from Europe was flooding with the rivers into this area. So you could say, I've got a big reward where I'm standing on, because organic matter gives you, like in the forest, you know, if trees are falling and rotting away, and we have organic matter here, so that helps, and which is fantastic, and enough calcium from the past.
Ghana continues to lose lands to the sea, but the Netherlands have been bold enough to reclaim lands from the sea. And this has helped make it the second largest exporter of agricultural produce in the world after the USA, and their agriculture continues to grow with every passing day. For Joy News, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, Netherlands.
Now, the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations says it's seeking inputs from members to press for a legislative instrument for the Disability Act. The Disability Act 715, passed in 2006, is aimed at ending discrimination of persons living with disabilities. Since its passage over 10 years ago, the legislative instrument to give it power for effective implementation has been elusive. The Federation says members who suffer various forms of abuse are unable to seek redress due to the absence of such legislation. Prince Appiah sat through a consultative meeting of the northern sector in Kumasi.
Members of the Ghana Federation of Disability Organizations from Ashanti, Bono Ahafo and the 3 northern regions are in attendance. The consultative meeting is meant to collate views and inputs to push for legislative instruments to make the Disability Act operational. So what has been the impact in the absence of the legislative instrument? One of the leaders, Abraham Sani, explains.
It's very, very, very important because, like I said, without the LI, assuming we persons with disability as a group, we have taken an institution to a court because it's not accessible. Now, but what about other store buildings that there's no lift? So assuming we want to take such institution or building to a court, now what is the LI to back the act? Now the LI will spell out clearly how the whole thing should be, so that probably we can also have our way out. But without the LI, it will be difficult for the judge or our lawyer to argue our point. But if the LI is there, yeah, the LI will spell out a lot of things. It's supposed to be done this way or that way, so that we can have our way out. But without the LI, it will be very difficult. So we are happy that we are in a process to also put in our input for this LI to be sent to Parliament.
When will it be ready? Ahead of passage of a legislative instrument, the association has engaged a consultant to help amend the current act. Leadership has often insisted the act must conform to international standards and laws under disability. The amendment is meant to achieve that for a stronger process for the passage of the legislative instrument. Mr. Sani says an LI is long overdue in that it will bring a great relief to persons with disability.
And the purpose here is to make inputs into the LI. Since 2006, the disability law has been passed, but there's no LI to support it. So it has been very, very difficult for we persons with disabilities at times when we went to take certain issues up. Our own people will even discourage us that where is the LI? So you see that things will be difficult. But now that we are doing everything possible to come out with the LI, our purpose here is to also make our input. So currently we have divided ourselves into 4 groups. Then each group have taken a particular area that we are making input, so that it will be forwarded to Parliament to also look at it, so that the LI will be passed to back the act. If not, the back is like a toothless dog at the moment.
The group will add views from elsewhere in the regions to firm up with the discussion of the LI. Prince Apia reporting.
Now, government is still under a lot of criticism by players in the media industry for its decision to hand over the expansion of Ghana's digital migration platform to Chinese TV operator StarTimes. The Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GIBA, had first raised concerns about the move, saying going ahead with the deal will be a sharp departure from the digital migration agenda and boost the Chinese government's drive to take control of the broadcast space in strategic African countries. Already a number of deadlines have been missed regarding the switch from analog to digital broadcasting in the country to improve quality. Deputy Communications Minister George Ander told my colleague Kojo Yankson Ghanaians must be prepared to accept StarTimes if government is to access a Chinese Exim Bank loan as part of a framework agreement. The Deputy Minister conceded that KNET, which was contracted by the previous government, has undertaken the construction of the DTT infrastructure, but added there are some limitations with the existing infrastructure. He says there are significant things to be done to enhance the network. Oscar Ntro, an official of KNET, took my colleague Daniel Dazi on a tour of their facility to prove they are capable of doing the job StarTimes has been brought in to do.
You can see that there are more spaces that are blank. So we only have to introduce more encoders, more of these. If we introduce one more, as you said, that means we can have another 8 channels. We introduce another, so we can expand. We have left those spaces for that reason. The expansion is there because there's a rack space for that. You don't need so much more to do this kind of expansion. In digital, it's just like operating or manipulating figures. You can process them together, but at the output end we have what we call gateways, and you can use the gateways to assign which channel is for a region and which channel is for national. Greater Accra, we have 2. Ashanti, we have 2. We have space for Northern, they are not ready. We have space for Volta, they are not ready. And the Central region, we have 2 also coming from there. In order to see, there's flexibility. So we are providing 21 channels per MOX. So we will do 42 instead of 40, just to help. In digital transmission, the the bit rate that you create depends on a certain selection of certain parameters. And we have gone in for moderate settings, which will give us something around, let's say, 36 megabits per second. If that, we give links to broadcasters to be able to carry their content to this place. And so we are looking at them too. Sometimes if it's down, it could be that the link is down, it could be that they have a problem at their end.
IP generally means Internet Protocol. So we use the Internet Protocol to transport the streams from the studios to this location. Yes, it's easier to carry IP traffic over most of the transmission mediums that we have. If it were DVB are very heavy packets, very heavy, and you may need very expensive gear to be able to carry them. We convert them into IP, and they become very easy to transport to their location.
Government has, however, been accused of signing the contract for the expansion of the digital terrestrial television system with Chinese company Star Times. This was made known by Member of Parliament's Communications Committee, Sam George, on the Super Morning Show today. Now, reading from a letter purportedly written to the Attorney General by Communications Minister Esla Owusu, Mr. George, Sam George pointed out that Cabinet has already approved the deal, contrary to what government said earlier.
And this is what the tribunal said. The tribunal said that, in fact, Ghana had asked the tribunal to determine whether we were entitled to terminate the contract in the first place. The ICC held that yes, the arbitration panel held that yes, Ghana was entitled to terminate the contract. That in itself was an initial victory. Then the tribunal further was asked by the Attorney General that if we terminated the contract, was Star Times due $200 million? They said no. This is what the tribunal said. It said under the contract, Star Times will be entitled to money for actual work done and any other provable cost. Now, as myself and you know, and the ministry knows, Star Times had done nothing in terms of real work on the ground. So Star Times would have had to then prove to the government, to the arbitration committee, work that they had done in terms of the DTT to be able to make any claim of cost from the state. This was a fantastic case we were going to win. This ruling was handed over to the Attorney General, Madame Gloria Akufo. The ruling was given in the last quarter of 2016, but the paperwork from the ICC was handed over in the first quarter of 2017 to Madame Gloria Akufo. And that's why I'm saying that...
And you're receiving this information from the office of the former Attorney General?
Yes. And I'm saying to you that if they can, and that's why I'm giving you the lawyers, Dr. Bassett. Dr. Bassett is the one who shared this with me because he was one of the lawyers, he and the Attorney General were the local lawyers. He was on the board of the NCA. He's alive. You can call him Dr. Abdul Bassett. Now, coming to the issue, and I would show you why this is not even in contention. The letter from the Minister for Communications, the 22nd June letter. Let me read something to you. That will now explain to you why the arbitration was terminated or was stopped, and why you had an audit, and why you are having this insistence on having Star Times. Let me read something to you. It says, the MOU defined the key milestones to be achieved by both parties, culminating in the withdrawal and dismissal of the arbitration at the ICC.
Also speaking on the Super Morning Show, Deputy Communications Minister George Anders said a signed contract will still be null without a loan agreement with the Chinese Exim Bank.
We're doing is the best thing for Ghana. So
but are we going to sell the second spectrum?
Well, the NC has announced the program for the sale of, I think it's 2 blocks of spectrum, and so
2 blocks.
Yeah, and so we're looking at what the responses are going to be.
Okay, initially
but
we wanted to...
Again, there's no 100% guarantee that the revenue from the sale of spectrum will be used for a certain project. That has to go through due process, and cabinet has to make that determination.
But why not? The first sale of spectrum in the first place was used to fund this project. So why not put the sale of the two other spectrums?
Well, I mean,
in this?
Daniel, I mean, there are a number of priority things in the telecommunications industry that need to be done. There's the expansion of rural telephony that needs to be done. There's the improvement or expansion of data services that need to be done. So there are a lot of things that need to be done. I'm not saying that there's no way that the sale of spectrum can be used to fund the expansion of the DTT network, but I'm saying that there's no certainty. Okay, as of now, there are things that we are looking at doing, and cabinet will take the ultimate decision. However, there's an opportunity to secure funding, okay, from the Exim Bank facility, and if we get that funding, and per the calculations that we've done, per the finances that we've done, this should be able to pay for itself if we expand the DTT network to be able to offer the right services and go into the space of quadruple play, so that when you have a set-top box in your house, you can be able to do, if you have the right partnership with the telco, you should be able to do your voice, your data, your e-commerce, your entertainment, and it's the total solution.
So in your evaluation, this is a system that can pay back the loan?
Oh, certainly. I mean, from what we've done, from the return on investment.
You're watching Joy News Today with me, Bernice Abubedu. We'll bring you more shortly to stay. Thanks for staying. The sea's salinity is the major reason for rusting of metals, specifically roofing sheets of residents living along the coast. The situation is not different for people living at the South La Estate, a suburb of Accra, as they've had to deal with changing their roofing sheets as their roofs deteriorate almost all the time. As we get ready for the Joy News Western World Properties Habitat Fair this weekend, experts say it is always advisable to seek professional advice when dealing with roofing for your dream home. Nancy Amafadradosi has more in this report.
Living along the seashore can be a beautiful experience until your items begin to rust. Specifically, that's one thing that adds beauty to your home, the roofing sheets. Nee Philip has been living here for 2 decades. He laments how difficult it is to maintain his roofs after changing them many times.
I've been here like almost 20 years, and if you may see, we just put some slate on top so that it will not be like giving us a problem more. And at least we have been changing it like almost 5, if I may say, like almost like 5 times now. It gives us a lot of problems.
In light of the continual threat of the salinity in the sea, experts say issues of rusting can always be managed properly.
So for the people living around the coastal areas, your best bet is to go for pure aluminium sheets, because with that it's rust resistant, and the salt is not able to fight it like it would fight other kind of materials. So if you live around the coastal areas, don't go in for any inferior thing aside aluminium. So that is what I'll advise them to go in for.
In Wooden Estate, a suburb of the Greater Accra region, almost everyone has concrete blocks placed on their roofing sheets to ensure their roof stands against the storms.
There are times when it's rain and the storm. Nearing the sea, the storm winds is very heavier than living on the other side. To protect your roofing, you have to improvise and then put that, because there are some roofing days that with time, because of the sea breeze, it gets corroded. So when there is a storm or a strong wind, it just blows the roofing off. But what you do, you just try to, after the rains, repair it and then reinforce the nails that are corrosted.
But our experts say there should be a conscious effort to go for durable roofing sheets capable of withstanding the raging storms.
So if it comes to roofing, you just want to engage a professional because the roofing is supposed to last a lifetime. If you put block on your roof, it's not sustainable, of course. So you need to get a very good professional to give you good installers. And then once they install the roof very well, you don't have problems with your roofing sheets flying off when it's stormy or when it's windy. So you don't have to put the block. The block can be saved for masonry works.
What about the nails that are used, for these roofing sheets? Because they complain that sometimes the nail rather gets rusted, and so it comes off, and so it forces also the wind to take out the roofing sheet.
Okay, so as we have aluminium sheets, we have aluminium accessories as well. So we have aluminium nails that are used specifically for such installations. So if you are going in for aluminium sheets, you better get everything aluminium so it won't rust. Once it rusts, then it creates the chance for holes. And then once there are holes, you have issues with leakage. When it rains, it will go into your building. So you have to make sure that once you are getting aluminium sheets, you are getting aluminium accessories.
For solutions to all your roofing needs, patrons are encouraged to make their way to the Joy News Western World Properties Habitat Fair this weekend to find solutions to your housing needs. See you at this year's event at the Providence Event Center from the 21st to the 23rd of this month, 2018. Nancy Emefa Dredosi, Joy News.
And don't forget to make a date with us at the Providence Center at the trade fair here in Accra. It will start at 8 a.m. on the 21st of September, which is this Friday, and a holiday. So you definitely would want to make your way there. See you there. It's now time for Business with Odilia Ntiamo.